my name is Bernice. I'm being interviewed by Nishant.
What do you remember of your first memory reading?
My first memory of reading, I was in elementary school, and I remember my oldest brother was always reading books from like as long as I can remember. It would be any type of book, but he would always have a book in his hands. And I remember asking him why he wouldn't stop reading, and then he just basically explained to me that you just have to read a good book. And he ended up showing me a series of Junie B. Jones. And then once I saw those books and actually decided to pick one up and read, I remember I just didn't want to stop reading.
Who was a storyteller in your family?
My dad was definitely the storyteller. Until this day, he always has a million stories for whatever we're doing. It's like, okay, when we'll be eating dinner, he's like, oh, I remember back in the day when I was in Mexico, this happened, and it's like one simple thing goes into like a 30-minute story, and I'm just like, okay.
Is there anybody specifically who helped you with your reading?
I would say my oldest brother, and sometimes my dad, but mostly my oldest brother because my parents, like I said, were always working. So if I ever had a lot of questions, they're like, at the moment, I know I could easily run into my brother's room and ask him, and I always had questions. So he would like, sometimes I think he would get annoyed by me, but I just needed answers. But after a while, once I actually started liking the idea of writing, I feel like I asked way too many questions and he just got annoyed because he was doing his own thing.
Do you remember your favorite book from your childhood?
Yeah, I remember it was Junie B. Jones and Her Big Fat Mouth. That was from when my brother brought out the books. Like, there was like a few different series. It was a series, and there was a few different books that he had that he already read when he first started reading. And I remember that book especially because of the title. I thought it was funny, and I thought that's how my brother always saw me because he'd always tell me stuff like that. So I was like, okay, why not just read this book?
What about that specific book made you like it?
Because I could relate to it. I feel like Junie B. Jones was like a kid just like me at the time, so I mean, I know what she was talking about. Like, little kids, everyone always thinks that we talk too much or we say like the wrong thing at the wrong time. So it's like I knew what she was going through basically.
What about Junie B. Jones' books was different compared to other books?
A lot of times I thought that I liked the character of the Junie B. Jones that of Junie B. That she was like kind of around my age and that I was able to understand, while other books was kind of just like they went off so much like into like being fairy tales and stuff like that, where it has like Junie Jones like kind of true, like kids feel a certain way about this or kids act the way like she acts. Like I understood it. It's like more of like everyday life type things than compared to like others.
What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Crystal McAuliffe, and I went to Reynolds first, and then I went to Crystal McAuliffe.
What was your experiences at both of those schools?
In Reynolds, I felt like there was I feel like a lot of kids in my class didn't really care too much about anything compared to when I moved to Crystal McAuliffe. There were like a lot more kids that their parents were really like involved, and I wouldn't say strict because like we were in elementary, how strict could they be, but like they were more like, because the parents were so involved, the kids were actually focused and paying attention to like what was going on in schools compared to like at Reynolds, like you would hardly ever see parents around.